Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick, which is, speaking about this problem that we're having here in America as as a side effect of the downfall of this here place. All right. But, they'll try to spread this on things like mental illness and everything like that. But ultimately, it's the Most High that's turning these spirits up. All right. And we're going to grab that in the scriptures. So this here article says perpetrators with unmedicated, untreated brain illness behind majority of U.S. mass shooting study. Or mass shootings, says the study. All right. And hey, we could be petty with this and just be like, because they always talking about terrorists. But it seemed like the biggest terrorists around the world happens to be these same people, you know what I'm saying, which we're going to read about. It says a large majority of assailants, and we talking about a group of people. It says a large majority of assailants behind mass shootings in the U.S. had untreated psychiatric disorders, primarily schizophrenia. Treating such patients in time could decrease the risk of violence, a new study suggests. And ultimately what it is the Most High putting these spirits upon these Egyptians to fight against these other Egyptians, all right? Who was given the blessing of the sword. And as you can see right here, who it is, all right? It says the majority of psychiatric analysis by researchers from the Stanford University School of Medicine studied U.S. mass shootings spanning decades, having identified 115 persons behind such crimes committed between 1982 and 2019 based on the most comprehensive listing available. The Mother Jones database, they mainly concentrated on the study of surviving assailants. Oh, here was one, a different one here. I believe these was actually Jake's. It was a Latino couple right here in this thumbnail at the top. I believe I did a video where I mentioned this in there. All right. But it says, basically he was mad because he wasn't invited into the birthday party. And again, going into the love of many waxing cold and things like that. All right. People are just flipping out. Not to say flipping out. The Lord is putting these spirits on these people to just act out in these ways. All right. Because nothing happens without the Most High controlling, all things. All right. It says that we found most mass shooters in our studies experience undiagnosed, unmedicated psychiatric illnesses. The specialists revealed, describing their findings as such as striking symptoms of serious brain illness that can be diagnosed as clinical psychiatric disorders were identified in 32 of the 35 perpetrators. Most of the shooters, 18, had schizophrenia, while 10 were more diagnosed with bipolar, delusional, and personality disorders, in which they're going to kind of touch on this. But ultimately, it's these spirits that's being put onto these people, man. All right, they're running wild. All right, it says those with schizophrenia had typically psychotic symptoms such as demons, messages, paranoid delusions, and command hallucinations to kill, burn, or destroy. All right, it just sounds like demon possessions to me. All right. Or just Esau reverting back to his normal state, because he was created to be the wicked, and he was he was to take the peace from the earth, all right, and to kill with the sword, all right. It says none were medicated or received other treatments prior to the crime, according to the study, which was published in the Journal of Clinical Psychopharmacology. It is said to be the first analyst of the medical evidence on U.S. domestic mass shooters, in which they should call it domestic terrorists, because that's what they are, And it's funny that these these Edomites here they always like to try to label us to be what they call Black Hebrew Israelite, BHIs, and they got all kind of different terms for us and things like that. They call us terrorists, where the only sword that we swinging is these scriptures, man. All right, that's our weapon of choice. That's how we get down. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say, hey, the word is sharper than any two-edged sword. All right, because not only is it, calling you out for your wickedness. All right, it's exposing you on all sides, man. We don't have to put our hands on you. All right, we just read the scriptures, and like they say in the world, if the shoe fits, wear it. All right, only hit dogs holler, man. All right, if it don't pertain to you, then it's not. We're not talking about you, man. All right, because like when we speak about the women, for instance, we get on the women sometimes for doing certain things here and there. But guess what? A lot of the sisters that are watching our videos, they're not offended by those things, because guess what? Hit dogs holler. They don't fit those descriptions of the things that we talking about, walking around half-ass naked and, being lewd and everything else like that, So, like speaking in this example of these women, if they in line in order and they following the truth to the best of their ability, guess what? They're not upset because it don't apply to them. The same way with these things, when they speak ill about us about being terrorists and things, they have to make up all these types of things. But then look, what's really coming out in the news? You don't read a bunch. When you read about articles about us, they talk about how we are a so-called hate group and the things that we say. It's always about the things that we say. It's nothing about the things that we do. All right. They don't have a lot of, well, speaking of GMS, they don't have any articles about us doing anything to anybody. But overall, with the majority of all the camps as well, too, man, you don't really have any stories of, mass shooters or anything like that, or where we did anything to anybody physically or anything like that, man. All right, now you do have some stories where they'll come up with, there was a mass shooter, he was in his religious thing or whatever, and he was, they'll try to tie us to these types of things. But then when you go and you check, the background of some of these people, they ain't got no ties to us. They may have watched a video here or there, or may have said something, or they just may want to put that on us. But hey, man, they have overwhelming evidence about these damn Edomites just flipping out like this, man. All right. It says none were medicated or received any other treatment prior to the crime, according to the study, which was published in the Journal of Clinical. I just read that. To establish symptoms of mental illness and psychiatric states, the Stanford research led by Dr. Ira D. Glick assessed clinical information obtained from multiple sources, including records of forensic psychiatrics and court of proceedings, as well as perpetrators' writing and social media posts. They also researched, now again, going into the social media posts, they like to hit us with all these hate speech and this and that. But look, none of us have any of these violent past or histories, or getting locked up in and out. We wouldn't be on the highways and the byways if this was, really in our character to be doing stuff like this, man. All right. And, we always tell you about what the Most High is about to do to you, how the Most High is destroying you. All right. So, and this is one of the ways the Most High is destroying you. See, this is the power that we serve, where he can put the spirit on your own people to destroy your own people with that. We don't have to do anything, man. All right. It says, where are we at? They also researched 20 mass shooting cases in which assailants died at the crime scene, and concluded that at least 8 of those had schizophrenia, while 7 had other diagnoses, and 5 had unknown diagnosis, all medically untreated. While various motives for such deadly crimes, including religious, all right, see how they put that first? They want to say that, oh, we're a religious group or whatever, well, a religious hate group, but ultimately, it's these other people. Like you could literally say this about all these shooters, because 90% of these damn people, all right, if you grow up here in America, you have some kind of quote unquote Christian background. All right. And we're not talking about what we believe in the scriptures and things. We're talking about the other white meat, how they believe. They would say, oh, we went to church and everything else like that. But ultimately, and even when you look at those types of people like that, the majority of these people that go to church and everything like that, even though they going completely off and they worshiping the devil, they ain't really all that violent and stuff like that, man. These people are like cuckoo on some other type of shit. Like I got a customer who every once in a while I'll see him. He'll want to try to, he's a what you call one of these super Christians. You know what I'm saying? If you was to ask me, I would say he's a Christian extremist. Every time I see him, he want to give me something about the word and tell me about what Jesus is finna do and his calling and his men's study and missionary work and everything else like that. That'd be the last person. I mean, now dealing with the children, he might do something to the children because that, that's something that they happen to be doing. But as far as being violent and being a shooter, that'd be the last person I'd look at as something like that, man. All right. But then what you do have is the other flip side of these people who are the next one says, where was it at? Where I was talking about, it's like I didn't. Okay. It says, while various motives for such deadly crimes, including religious and political influence, all right, a lot of these people are really backed by their political influence with the divide of America, with the Biden and Trump situation. Now, you see a lot of these Trump supporters that's going out here talking about, oh, we got to take the country back and so on and so forth. All the people at the Capitol riot building, those people are mainly motivated by their political backgrounds and things like that and the things that they're into that way. All right. But just so happen to be members of churches. So you can say, oh, they Christians as well, too. But that's more likely who these people are. All right. It says, while various motives for such deadly crimes, including religious and political influences, have been observed, say psychiatric research on the nature and the incidence of mental illness among mass shooters, however, remains largely understudied. The research says suggesting that timely treatment with appropriate medication might have decreased violence. And I think that's the end of it. Well, they go into some numbers. I think I read the paragraph I wanted to read anyway about the religious. Yeah, because they're going into how many guns Americans have and everything like that. But, hey, as you can see here, let's grab some scriptures. As you can see here, this is foreshadowing the end of, Esau's kingdom, man. All right, the end of Babylon. Let me start out here. Let me just grab a couple scriptures real quick. I think it's verse 10. Yeah, Matthew 24:10. And then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. All right. And going into that, many being offended. You have a lot of people being offended by a lot of different things right now. Mainly, one of the things that's causing a lot of this here violence and things like that is what? Like I was just going into the political arena. All right. Salakia for the sound in the background. Hold on. 1 second. Doesn't cut it off all the way, but Lord's will be a little bit better for you to hear. But nevertheless, a lot of these situations you have going on about this here divide between people are coming from what? The political aspects. All right. People are being offended. Oh, you see the people, Trump, Biden. People use these nowadays as so-called racial slurs to get their feelings off their chest, instead of going into, a whole rant of, I hate you because you do this and you do that and you ran my car over or you hit my cat with your car and blah, 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 blah. These people nowadays just say, oh, they're still in our country. Go back to your country. Instead of saying all of that nowadays, they just say, go Trump, make America great again, or Biden or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So especially around election times, you've seen a lot of those things going on where you had the Trump dudes out there where they pick up trucks and big ass flags and, people with Biden bumper stickers were being harassed and vice versa. You have all these different scenarios that were created based upon the political arena and everything like that, man. All right. But nevertheless, this is one of the things where one of the major things people are being offended by. All right. You also have other things where it's like I watched a news a video the other day about how a bunch of doctors pretty much walked out of their jobs because they was forced to, participate in the medical situations. But that's a divide as well, too. But again, these people aren't necessarily turning violent. But sooner or later, all right, the Lord, see, this is the perfect recipe for disaster, man. All right, because we're going to grab some more scriptures, but leading into what? A shortage of food or a famine, and when people can't eat, they're going to have to start, they're going to just start lashing out and become violent, man. All right, let me read this again. Matthew 24:10. Then shall many be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. All right. And this is where, this is the beginning of all these things right now. All right. You see in America how they say America's being more divided than ever. All right. And even over people like to say over the race situation. Well, really, you got Esau that's hating on Jake right now. It's not Jake don't really be going at Esau like that unless Esau just on some bullshit and won't leave Jake alone. And then that's when Jake lashed back out at Esau. But mainly it'd be Esau that be doing all these types of things, man. All right, with the police shootings, police shooting Jake down and everything else like that. You notice that Jake wasn't rousing up beforehand and just going at the police because they hate the police and everything like that. But that's how Edomites would like to paint the picture. Oh, y'all just hate the police. Y'all want to just get rid of the police. Like, no, Jake is reacting to the violence that the police is doing, man. And Esau, that's just part of his nature, man. All right. Let me jump down verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And going into that, man, they just allowing this here wickedness to just keep growing and growing and growing, where Esau feels like, hey, they trying to take away our country. They're trying to take away our rights. This is our country. We're going to do whatever we want to go and do. These Jakes is getting out of line here. We got to put them back in their place, or all kind of things like this, man. All right. So this is a recipe for disaster that's being cooked up right here in the kitchen, man. All right. Let me grab this other precept real quick. Okay. Isaiah, this is the book of Isaiah chapter, 19 and verse 2. It says, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. All right. Going in now, obviously, we're talking about the spiritual Egypt, like Sodom and which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. All right. Because this is where we, had served our bondage at. Right. So now, just like when we was in Egypt, all right, we were still the Israelites in Egypt. but the Egyptians was, the so-called slave owners at that point in time. So when you fast forward till today, who are we really talking about when we talk about these Egyptians? These are these regular, everyday Americans, right? It says, I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians. All right. So they're going to be fighting against their own people, man. All right. And this is what you're starting to see with these mass shooters. They have a term like going postal, whereas a lot of people are going postal right now, man. There was a dude who recently went and shot up his job maybe a couple weeks ago. All right. And everything like that burned down his house. And then I did a video on that as well, too, where they were saying that the girlfriend or the ex-wife said that he had, past anger issues. And then the actual girlfriend at the time said that they had like a dispute about some things. He kept being upset about the things that was going on at his job and so on and so forth. And this is one of the things that is really bothering Esau when it comes to the economics, man. All right, either A, he's seeing some younger folks, you know how it is when you go to a job where people be there for a long time. You see the older people that's working there, and you get a newer crowd that comes in there a little bit faster, a little bit more on point. The older people feel a little slighted, like they might be about to lose their jobs, you young bucks. Or they like to use this term where they say, oh, they taking away all of our jobs and everything. Well, maybe they're more experienced than you. Maybe they're cheaper to hire than to keep paying your payroll, and you ain't really bringing in no work. All right, but nevertheless, you're seeing these people going postal for many different reasons. Hey, even killing their own family. There was another story, I want to say 2 or 3 days ago, where it was another father and the son wound up shooting at one another, man. All right. So, and you have all these stories going back and forth. There was one that we just looked at in the article where, basically, they was at the birthday party. Well, the dude didn't get invited to the birthday party, went in and shot up the whole damn birthday party, man. These was all people that he knew. He was his girlfriend's birthday party, man. All right. So these people are going at each other's throat. You got World War III coming around the corner, and then like what happens? We already know what's going to happen, but hypothetically, just saying, what is to happen if these other nations come? All the other nations come over here to invade America, and when they show up over here, everybody already dead because all these Americans then killed all these other Americans, man. Like, this is what you got going on right now, where all these other nations are banding together, becoming more and more in tune with one another. America is crumbling apart at every end. All right. It says, I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his who? His brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. All right. So, hey, ultimately, this is what's going on right now here in America, man. All right. Their so-called love for one another, how they say their brotherly love is falling apart, man. All right. There used to be a point in time, especially like when I was little, there used to be a point in time where, whether you in Jake neighborhood or Esau's neighborhood, I mean, mainly in Esau's neighborhood, but even in Jake neighborhood for your closest neighbors and things like that, for the most part, you was able to somewhat trust your neighbors and things like that, man. Something was to go wrong, or maybe, you live with your grandma or something like that, and then the guy next door offered to come and cut her grass when he cut his grass. You know what I'm saying? Or, y'all were normally kind of like close like that, or, you got to, how it is when you, back in the days, we used to live in the hood, you got the neighborhood kids, they was all, out and about riding bikes on the streets, and they had limits to where they can go. Look, y'all can go 5 houses down that way, 5 houses down this way, and y'all playing with all the kids in between. Now the mothers, somebody will be looking out the window, just checking on the kids every now and then. Y'all come back in when the porch light come on. But nowadays, you have people. I remember a video where it was these 2 old Edomites, man. One dude was out there cutting his grass, and the other Edomite rolled up on him, was cussing him out. And the one dude came out, pulled out a pistol, and started, he let off about 9 shots on him, man. Hit him like 50 Cent. And guess what? The old nigga was still alive. This was like 2 70-year-old men, man. All right. But nevertheless, these are our Edomite neighbors. Like, whereas when you see Edomites normally move into one another, they knock on the door. Hello, neighbor. We want to introduce ourselves. We bought you some cookies. Welcome to the neighborhood type thing. Nowadays, they over here cussing each other out. Oh, man, they got that loud-ass diesel truck, loud-ass barking dog. They put up this fence. They painted this house this color and all these different things to making these people want to start fighting at each other's throat, man. All right, you can't even let your kids go outside nowadays for threats of the people want to kidnap your kids and things like that, or do some kind of harm to your kids. All right, this is the state of where we at right now, man. All right, let me read that again. And I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. All right, and that's ultimately what the pot that's starting to boil right here in America, man. All right. Let me also grab, I don't want to make this too long. Actually, I'll just grab, I'll grab this. We'll close out. Yeah, well, matter of fact, let me just start from the top or from verse 14. Second Esdras 15 and verse 14, it says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for their sword and their destruction draweth not. Well, let me grab something else too. Well, we can go back there and we'll jump back. It says, Second Esdras 15 and 14. Yep. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right. And this is what you have going on right now, man. All right. Where these people are starting to stand up and fight one another. All right. With their own neighbors. All right. Just over small things, not even small things, because a lot of it's going into financial reasons, food. Maybe they're just bugging out because maybe the husband had lost his job and the wife looking at him a little different. Or maybe he just feel like less of a man, so he goes inside and kill up his whole family and everything like that, man. All right, go on YouTube and look up Death by Despair. All right, they've been documenting the downfall of Esau for the longest time, where a lot of these Edomites are either killing themselves, killing their families, and just going postal because of what? Economic downturns, man. All right, now you have less and less jobs. They had everything shut down. All right, business ain't rolling as it was. You have a lot of these small businesses, whether it be mom and pop restaurants, things like that, got to limit the menu size or what they can order and everything, the times they're open, because they don't have the staff to come in, and all they seeing now is their business is slowly but surely being taken away from them. The business they've been building for the last 20, 30 years, they seen everything going downhill. Their son or their daughter's about to graduate high school. They had money put aside for them to go to college. Now the college money is all gone to the side. Now the daughter's out there on OnlyFans. The father's sitting at home like, man, my wife about to leave me. Boom, they go and shoot up every damn body, man. All right. This is the time and the place that we're living in right now, man, where it's not safe outside, man. All right, nowadays it would be wise for you to walk, how they say, hey, be a harmless as a dove, man. All right, because you never know what the other person got going on in their life right now, man. You got these road rage accounts where somebody will just get over without signaling or something like that, man. Or maybe they're driving down the road and, well, here in Florida we be having all kind of wildlife. So just to say, you down here in Florida, you driving in the road and there's a big ass turtle in the road, or one of these big ass sandhill cranes, like a big ass bird, and you don't want to hit neither one of them, you'll mess your car up. But nevertheless, let's say, and plus it's damn near illegal to hit them birds. But anyway, let's say you driving down the road and this big ass bird is walking across the street, 3-4 foot bird tall, and you slam on your brakes real quick, and the person behind you have to slam on their brakes. Now they get out and they want to come up to your car and start shooting at you or something like that because you ain't want to hit the bird. But then all of a sudden it creates road rage. In fact, just yesterday, man, I seen this just yesterday, man. I was leaving work, walking out of the parking lot, and there was basically two different Edomites. And it was kind of a weird blind spot of this corner where one was coming out and the other one, how do I explain this? They were both going straight, but they was coming head on to one another, right? But they was basically crossing this other road, almost like a four-way, but wasn't really a four-way. One way was going behind a damn grocery store, so really you wasn't having traffic coming from there. So they was just passing each other going head on. Neither one of them had to turn, but they was both at the damn little crossing or whatever, and I don't even know what exactly happened, but I heard them blowing the horn, and then the one dude backed up, and then he started cussing them out, and I was like, oh shit, it's finna go down over here. You know what I'm saying? You never know what the hell might pop off. All because the dude blew the horn at his ass. Like I said, neither one of them cut neither one of them off. They was both going head on towards each other, so one was in one lane, the other one was in the other lane, and you in a parking lot plaza, there was, it wasn't nothing, neither one of them really could have did to upset the other one, but I guess one dude just blew the horn at the other dude, and the other dude backed up, got rolled down his window and started cussing him out. Now, these is both at least in their 50s or older Edomite men that look like they should be on a golf course playing golf somewhere. But they was out the window cussing each other out like they was finna actually do something to one another. But this is the spirits that's going on in the earth right now, man, especially among these Edomites, man. All right, they didn't look like they had quote unquote mental issues or anything like that. They was driving some pretty well off cars. Looked like they was dressed, like I said, they looked like they should have been spending their day on the golf course. They might have stopped to go to the grocery store, pick up something, and then go back out to wherever the hell they was going. But nevertheless, this wasn't like you was in the hood and you seen Jake doing some hood shit. No, these was like some damn golf course looking Edomite type people. But they was about ready to get out and start killing each other. They was cussing each other out, talking about what he was finna do to the other dude and everything else like that. I'm like, bro, y'all too old for this shit, man. Y'all somebody daddy who got like, some 20, 30-year-old kids, man. All right, but nevertheless, let's keep reading. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And we seen that with the Capitol riots, man. All right, they were saying, we don't care what the cops got to say. We want our country back. You know, again, these Egyptians against Egyptians, they're divided. Hey, if Satan be divided, how can his kingdom stand? All right. And this is what you're seeing happening right now, man. All right. It says, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And see, you also have this with these, they call non-police zones, or where you have like, different boiling points boiling over where they tell you, hey, it's not safe for you to go over there. You know, Jake know about this, like, yo, you don't want to go out there to where they got all them rebel flags and everything else like that, because they kind of heated right now. They waiting on Jake to go over. You keep hearing all these stories about these quote unquote suicides amongst young Jakes. There was a young Jake girl who got into a fight somewhere, and basically she got lynched in the woods, and it was like, oh, she committed suicide, but she basically tied a belt around her neck and hung herself. She had got jumped earlier today, all right, and put a belt around her neck, all right, and hung this girl, and they rendered it a suicide, even though the belt wasn't hers, didn't come from her house, and they wouldn't test the belt for the DNA to see where the belt came from, all right? But see, this is what you have going on, where they telling you, hey, man, don't go over there right now, because, you know, all them quote-unquote Trump supporters are over there flying their big-ass flags with their little signs and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? You already know not to be dealing out in that their neighborhood, man, all right? Verse 19, here's the point. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of a lack of bread and for great tribulation. And like I said before, man, a lot of these things stem from economic downturns, man. When these people can't provide for themselves, these men feel less of themselves. You got to put yourselves in these Edomites' perspectives, man. All right, they've been living high and mighty for a long time, living in these big-ass nice houses, driving nice cars, going on vacations all the time, taking their families all over the place and doing all kinds of things. Hey, this weekend we're going out on the boat. You know, next weekend we're going skiing and we're doing this and we're doing that now. And they got their little business that maybe in real estate, but then now all of a sudden, the pandemic happened, right? Now they got people not paying rent. Now they got like 10 houses where they still owe these mortgages, but the mortgages was getting paid from the renters, but now the renters ain't got to pay the mortgages. So not only don't, you know, the regular Edomite don't got his job no more that was bringing in the income to pay his regular bills and feed his families because they didn't shut down wherever he was working at. But see, he got these 10 rental properties where the mortgages wasn't paid off. He still owed the bank every month. He can't afford to pay 10 mortgages. The only way he was affording to pay that was because he had renters renting these things out. But hey, now they ain't got to pay their rent right now. You see what I'm saying? How this creates this type of turmoil inside the minds of these people. And then they be like, you know what? If I can't, you know how Esau is. If I ain't going to win, nobody going to win. He unplugged the whole damn game and shit. You know, he losing a damn hand of spades. He flip over the whole table, man. All right. This is what you're dealing with right now. This was caused them to go berserk. But ultimately, it's the Most High putting these spirits on them, man. All right. Let me read that again. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy the houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right. Also, like going into the great tribulation, a lot of these Edomites feeling like they're seeing their country being taken away from them. All right. When it comes to the Trump versus the Biden situation, not just saying those two guys, but those are the two quote unquote sides that you're on. You know, these Edomites, to make America great again, they want to go back to being on top, having Jake in captivity and just the wild, wild west, basically, you know. But then you have people like Biden who's trying to do gun control and things like that, make write out these packages and things like that to quote unquote help Jake out. But ultimately, it's to swindle Jake. But in Esau's eyes, this is like, oh, you're not going to be taking my money to be given to these niggers. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, man, this is what's causing them to go out there and pick up arms and things like that. All right. Let me close out with this because we were just speaking on lack of tribulation or lack of bread. 2nd Esdras 6:22. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So again, going into these places where it's like, oh shit, like we all experienced this where Walmart was 24 hours a day, man. Then they altered their hours that they was working, man. All right. You had a lot of these jobs where people like, oh, I'm gonna have a job forever. This is gonna always be there. Then all of a sudden it shut down. Or you got your own business. You own your own restaurant and everything. Government ain't gonna tell. There was the dude who had his own gym, wound up going to jail multiple times because he refused to close down his business when the government told him to close down his business, man. All right. And it wouldn't surprise me if one day he went postal over something like that. You're taking my whole livelihood, trying to lock me up for trying to feed my family and everything like that. How dare you? This is our country. We're going to fight for it. This is what's going on right now, man. All right. Verse 23, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. All right. They seen like Ecclesiastes 12 say, man. All right. They seeing that basically the strong men bow themselves. Hey, they afraid of the things coming, man. They see this economic downturn, man. The economy is collapsing on their ass right now, man. All right. So it says, and the trumpet shall give a sound which every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. At that time shall friend fight. Salak. At that time, Salak. At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies. All right. It says friends, people that you know. All right. It's not very common. All right. That you have random people getting shot. All right. A lot of the times when random people get shot, a lot of the times that'd be like someone with Jake. All right. And that'd be like collateral damage. Like when you hear about the nightclub shootings and stuff like that, you notice they don't post all the nightclub shootings. If they did, they'd be like, yo, mass shootings is up 1,000,000,000%. But they don't really put that, because if we would have kept reading in that article, one of the things they exclude from those things is gang activity and gang killings, because that's just really Jake on Jake. And they don't really care about that anyway. Right. But just being as Jake, we already know how Jake is when they get down. If Jake go to school and shoot up a school, he going to go shoot up a single person, a person or two that was fucking with him in the school, right? But with Esau, they just go in and just let loose on whoever they see out in the school. You see what I'm saying? They just indiscriminately shooting up any and everybody, man. Now, they may have certain targeted killings, whether it be their parents, their wives, their kids, and things like that, or co-workers that was doing certain things to them, but mainly, Esau just opened up anywhere, any crowded area, all right? But it says, verse 24, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run, all right? So, hey, ultimately, it's about to, well, let me read verse 25. Whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape, and see my salvation and the end of your world. So I just seen a commercial for this the other day. I think they got what they call the Infinite Purge or the Final Purge or something like that. They got a new Purge movie coming out. All right, but this is the spirit that they're pushing out here, man. It's about to be is already like a small purge out here, man. All right, you seen that with the Capitol riot buildings and all these different protests that they have going on, but it's going to only increase, man. All right, and you can take it as the more money they pumping out here to these people, the closer and closer you get into that day, man. All right, because America is on its last leg. It's how you say, economically collapsing. All right, and these Edomites, they understand what's coming down the pipeline. So guess what? They fighting tooth and nail. How do I say, to keep this here position, man? They don't want to see Jake Rosin. All right, and I mentioned this earlier. Let me read this real quick and we'll close out. This is Revelation 6. Well, we can read 6 and 8, but let me go to 4. Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. All right. And so, hey, what do you think Esau, his blessing was given a great sword? You read that Genesis chapter 27. All right. But nevertheless, he was given this here great sword, and guess what he did with it? He was given a power to take peace from the earth. So right now, you're seeing it being turned up on a whole nother level, man. All right, let me read verse 8. Now look, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth. All right, so ultimately, basically Esau is just an agent of chaos and an agent of death, man. All right, and you're seeing right now the Most High turning up the spirit on his ass to just go haywire out here on these people, man. All right, he's seeing the end of his whole world. All right. And ultimately, he's, how do you say, he kind of butthurt he losing the damn game. So what is he going to do? Get up and turn over the table, man. All right. But nevertheless, I just wanted to jump into this here article. I didn't mean for this to be that long. But nevertheless, hey, these are the times that we're living in right now. So it would be wise of you to walk circumspect, be on your P's and Q's, and don't be out there in a nigger spirit. You going out and about, and maybe somebody cut you off in traffic, and they in the wrong or whatever, whatnot. Hey, it ain't wise for you to just pull up on them, roll down the window, and cuss their ass out, because you don't know what the hell just happened. He might have just came home seeing some Jake plowing his wife or whatever, lost his job. Now all of a sudden he got his pistol in the car and just blow your brains out. He was on the way to go blow his own brains out anyway. So, hey, man, move wisely out here, man. All right, somebody went wrong, you cuss you out, do something to you, just walk away, man. It ain't that serious, man. They already in their hell. They already suffering right now. Don't follow along with them. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal, Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that we will. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.